We're warning people about very serious things that are happening in the world. We have the Anglo-American establishment based in England and the United States that has enslaved our people. And they are using our wealth, our military, our name to carry out this globalist empire, this unipolar world, instead of having a multipolar world. And in the PNAC documents, Dick Cheney, the Vice President and others, called for a new world order or a global government controlled by the United States and England, but at the expense of the American people. This is an engineered implosion, and now out of it, the Anglo-American establishment based in London, D.C., and New York has announced what we said years ago they would announce. They need a global consortium run by central banks worldwide who then set the price of currencies, or a global currency worldwide, giving them total control. So they engineer the crisis, they create the problem, regardless of whether it was on purpose or not. We know it was. But regardless, they create the crisis, and then they come in and offer the solution, which is giving them unlimited capital, unlimited control, unlimited power over world markets to now create a tripolar, a global currency regulated and controlled by them.
There is a global meltdown coming. It is a global depression, and one world currency and one world financial system is the end game. China said last week they want one global currency. France said yesterday or the day before that they want one world order, a new world order, at the end of this event.
Good evening, everybody. President Obama and British Prime Minister Gordon today calling for a new world order to tackle our global economic crisis. President Obama said globalization can be an enormous force for good. Prime Minister Brown again pushing for what he calls a global New Deal paid for by the United States.
F.A. Hayek won the Nobel Prize in 1974 for basically saying that if you have a central bank like the Fed that's established by the government, has all these government-granted monopoly privileges, and it forces interest rates below the level that the free market would have set them, it sets the economy on an unsustainable boom. It sets investors out on investment trajectories that cannot be completed. There aren't enough resources to complete them. And so he predicted that there would be inevitably a bust, and a lot of these economists predicted that, of course, the bust would then be blamed on capitalism, as if it's the free market's fault that the government's crummy central bank forces interest rates below where the market would have set them. If we let the market set interest rates, you don't have these crazy asset bubbles. Meanwhile, we've had the Federal Reserve both in the 20s and today inflating these crazy bubbles, and now we've had probably the biggest asset bubble in world history, and they're all claiming they have no idea what caused it. I mean, talk about blockheads.
Prashant, I expect to see social unrest, civil unrest in the United States a couple of years from now. Yes, it's changing the entire situation in the United States. The United States is the largest debtor nation in the history of the world. There is a dramatic sea change taking place. The world's center is moving from the west to the east, to Asia, and many people have not figured this out yet, especially people in the United States. No, you're going to see a lot of turmoil in the United States in the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Putting food on the table is going to be more important than putting gifts under the Christmas tree. We're going to go into the worst depression since worse than the Great Depression.
Wow. Federal Reserve is no more federal than Federal Express, but yet it has the power to determine the direction of use of money in our economy. If we could take that power back and put the Federal Reserve under Treasury, we start to be in a position of being able to control monetary policy on behalf of the United States people.
Here's where we were in September last year. But then the Treasury decided we need to start printing more money. This hockey stick should take your breath away. This is devaluing our money. We have pumped all of this money in and devalued our money. How is it not going to be worthless? This has never, ever been done by anybody ever before.
Who owns the Federal Reserve?
It's secret, and we can't find out what's happening. But the Congress created it, and not authorized in the Constitution.
The government borrows money from a private corporation using the name federal that prints United States on it, and then it pays back to the Fed, which is owned by private banks. We don't know who all those private banks are. The money that the government is paying back to the private bankers is the money that comes from you and me.
I think it begins with our own central bank, the Federal Reserve, which 4 years ago created excess liquidity, created excess money. That created global excess liquidity, started a commodities boom, and really destructively spilled over into the housing market, where everyone figured, why not let lending standards come down? Because after all, housing prices always go up, don't they? So that started it.
This is America. How many of you people want to pay for your neighbor's mortgage that has an extra bathroom and can't pay their bills? Raise their hand. How about we all? President Obama, are you listening?
The year is 2014. Many Americans are feeling disenfranchised. People are isolated from their political leaders. They've been betrayed over and over and over again. Internet connects like-minded people, and the Bubba effect, a rise in individual militias. And give me the, real quick, how much are taxes in our scenario of 2014 to pay for all the stuff that we're doing? How much are taxes?
We tried to pay for all of the spending we've done, and just the last 18 months with higher tax rates, the Heritage Foundation and other groups have estimated the tax rates at the top would have to go to 80, 90, perhaps even 95%, which means that 95% of everything you make would have to go to the government just to pay for what we've already spent money on.
Gerald, what happens to the people when you start taxing? Like
tax revolts.
Yeah, tax.
We all heard it on CNBC yesterday.
But you're not talking about a tea party.
Oh, no. This is going to be violent. People can't afford it anymore. Okay. Look, the cities are going to look like Dodge City. They're going to be uncontrollable. You're going to have gangs in control, motorcycle marauders. You're not going to have enough police or federales, just like Mexico, to control the situation.
Should I sell or hold out for a market increase? Peter?
Well, it's going to be difficult. Unfortunately, what the government is doing, they're in the process of turning this recession into a depression. It's going to last for a long time. And unfortunately, the bear market in stocks, which has been going on since 2000, is going to continue for many, many years. But what she has to understand is that the bear market in the bonds, which hasn't even begun yet, is likely to be even worse over time. So I think in the long run, Americans are going to lose even more money in bonds and in cash than they will in stocks. So I think that she doesn't want to leave stocks, but I think she should look internationally. There's a lot more bargains outside the United States and inside the United States. Valuations are much better, and their governments are not undermining their economies to the extent that our government is undermining ours. And I think she should also look at commodities and precious metals, particularly gold and silver.
Tea Party protests are erupting across the country. Angry taxpayers, or at least some of them, are taking to the streets in the spirit of the Boston Tea Party. People are protesting President Obama's massive $787 billion stimulus bill, his $3.55 trillion budget, and the federal government that has been ballooning by the day since the president took office.
I don't believe it's responsible of the president to vote for to sign bills that have not been read by Congress. I believe it's totally misrepresenting what this country stands for, and I'm not going to stand for it. So I'm out here with everybody else.
Take off we got news for you, criminals. We know you're the culprit, and we've got a megaphone nationwide, and we're not going to take it